Of course not. If they mind programming to tell you to believe that they're God, you'll be believing that they're God. So this whole thing about spiritual is a program, what it does to people, how it affects people, is seriously bad for the world and for every person that lives in it. Somebody's saying hello on my phone. I don't know what's going on my phone. It's saying hello. But no, deities don't create karma for us. We create it. It's like somebody puts a gun on the table and you shoot somebody. The makers of the gun create the karma. In some way, they could be responsible. But it's every individual soul is the one that has to decide how much karma they're going to create, not create, or stop. If we all said no more guns in the United States, that's the way it should be. We don't need the ability to go out and shoot somebody. Oh, protection. Well, if laws were just, and I went over this a couple of times. Now, deities are set where they are and they're happy where they are. I mean, in a billion years from now, they might want to move on. And can they? Of course they can. They chose, it's like a teacher when the principal appoints teachers for each grade. They stay there until they feel like moving on. But I don't want to lose train of thought where I was, but as far as where we are and how people around us are going to look at each other, it's seriously wrong. As a group of people, we need to create something better than what's here. Then you can start understanding slowly what the word means. But if God means spiritual, Jesus means spiritual, Moses means spiritual, Buddha means spiritual, all those words, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, the Pope, the Dalai Lama, all those words, are they spiritual? Why? Because religion says they're the ones that are. I mean, if I wrote in the Bible, I'm spiritual, Mr. Hawksblood, and put it out there, does that mean I'm spiritual now because I put it in a book? I don't put it in my books ever. The people in the speaking world that claim these spiritual words will become more spiritual. From today, when you're not spiritual, and tomorrow you're spiritual, what are you going to do different? What are you going to do to prove that you're spiritual? What do you believe that you're doing that makes you spiritual? Ask your friends that. Do me a favor. This whole week, until the next show, ask anybody you meet what spiritual means to them. What do they do to be spiritual? Give a homeless person a loaf of bread that makes you spiritual? Give them $10. You're going to take them in for the rest of their life? What are you going to do? Give a bird a piece of bread to eat for today? That makes you spiritual? What's a spiritual person do, really? Depends who teachings you follow. If you follow the average religion, it's like I can't say the word, sorry. Oh man, forget it. Having children is spiritual. Getting married, spiritual. I mean, words that we've been programmed to believe are important words. But how about planning on leaving planet Earth? Reproduce. That's one word. Yes. That's the right word. Still can't say it. Procreate. But what do we do? What are we doing now? The world's deteriorating rapidly. Our food, our air, our water is contaminated. Then we got these other perverted people coming out and telling us, oh, if we drink gold, we'll be healed forever. If we go out and get, the three things that were given to baby Jesus when he was in his cave are considered like the healing elements for mankind that'll cure anything. Well, they didn't have diseases like we do now. Limited diseases. Sure, they had a couple plagues here and there. But if we get hit with a plague, no matter what you take, it's not going to solve it and help you from getting it. You can think it, colloidal silver over the protection of the world. Drinking liquid silver, You think that makes you Superman? Right, the chemtrails are everywhere. We got these chemicals coming from the volcano every day now. It just blew up, and we got more stuff in the sky. I'll have to put those pictures up somewhere. I should have put them up on here. But I saw it explode. I was in town. The sky where it was shooting out straight up and all around black skies. Oh, it was so scary looking. If you want to hear it or near it. Luckily, I was a couple miles away from it. We're in trouble. And as long as we believe it's super spiritual, we're not going to solve the problem. So I just want to finish up on the alien thing. What's a good alien? We go over and over. I mean, I hear it. I deal with UFO people all day long. Sadly, I wish there was a few that I could really agree with. Not that there is. I'm only about 10 miles from the volcano. The saying that they'll say, they cannot interfere until we ask them to. Until we ask who? How do we ask who those people are, what we want? Hey, aliens, I want help. Send some help down. How many people have to ask? How do they have to ask? How many people? 1 million? 1 billion? 5 billion? That's a story. It's a man-made idea. The law of non-interference. But that's not true. If you don't follow a God, you don't have no law. You don't have no law. There's no foundation of what you're going to do or right or wrong. Because you make them up as you go along. Please show me one sign of proof that they can help us. I will say this. The Anunnaki probably tried to make us zombies. And I would say, sadly, some of them did. Well, this thing with Mars coming, which I prophesized, which I said, I know there's many people, a couple other people out there that I know directly that agree. You still could have a real serious problem in the next 2 weeks. Mars will be closest to the planet. Planets will be in alignment. We're in trouble. Magnetic fields are going to affect us, whether it's mentally. And I would also say, just check out how many people commit suicide this month, at the end of this month. I could also tell you it will probably be the highest in history. Why? Because more people look, when things start getting crazy, start looking inside themselves, and then they realize they're not who they are, what they are, should be, what do they have, what don't they have, and becomes a depressed state, depressed world. Now, when they say, why does a person become depressed? You know, I've dealt with many psychiatrists, psychologists. They're all in a space of trying to figure out who they are. Not who you are, but who they are. I can go into stories, but not now. But basically, when people go into the space and they think they're, connecting to God, it's not complicated. Because when you look outside yourself, you get more ways not to connect to God. Sure, meditation is the starting point. And I give a few guidelines always to that, how to take that beyond meditation. Meditation, you go into nowhere land and become one with nothingness, which you don't want to do. You want to become one with your guides, and then they can help take you and teach you and bring you further out into the inner worlds, which is what you need to do before you die. So, getting back to these Anunnakis trying to create zombies, and sadly, many people are becoming zombies. In all these movies, you know they put a zombie movie or 2 zombie movies out every year now. In Africa, they talked about creating a serum that makes people into zombies, that was actually making these people go out naked and jumping in front of cars, and all kinds of weird stuff happens when they do this drug. But that's mankind, being a perverted, egotistical man. So I'm as real as it gets, just so you know that. I stand by what I say. I only give you the truth that I know it as truth. because I stand before God, nobody else. I don't have to deal with people, what they think, what they feel. I don't care what they think. You think Jesus cared about everybody, what they felt and thought and anything else? He gave them the truth. Either they followed it or they didn't. And sadly, most people didn't understand half of what he said, and that's why they were willing to help kill him. And he was killed by many of his people as well. So what do we want to do next? We want to create something in our lives that can help us move forward. And that's what you should be doing. Let's believe in God. Why? You need a reason to do something. Well, I just feel like it, or I just think I do. Well, dive into the idea of love, what it really means. Or somebody to take care of me? Somebody to have sex with? What's it really mean? Why do all people feel that they need to have love in their lives? Or it feels good. Well, some people feel good jumping out of a plane or on a bungee cord, whatever. What's really good for you? What makes you really feel good? Tell me. Devoid of what? Life or death? Understanding death is the most important thing you can do in life. Buddha did say that. He said thinking about death every minute is important. I know most people wouldn't want to go there. Oh, I don't want to do that. It'll bring it in. No, it's just that every second that goes by, you're a second closer to dying tomorrow or today. Whether it's in your karma, whether it's whichever way it is, it's ready to pull you into it. Spiritual awareness is only man's ego thinking it's important. Is man important to the earth, to God? Think about that one. Are you important to God? Oh, God needs us all. All us to what? To screw up planet Earth? To screw each other? What does man really think he needs? Or what God really needs? Man thinks he needs a lot of things, but it's not truly the important part of his own life. Love and sex. Without that, what's the world? Nothing. Well, in one way you're right. In a lot of ways you're wrong. Right. God cares about the souls ready to move on and grow within its power. To be able to wheel and deal with it, which mankind can't. Going outside one's truth is what man's mostly afraid of. Seriously. You know, last week, I put everything up there for everybody to read. I went into all the spiritual names of people that are considered spiritual. I left a few out. I mean, I said Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, Miller Reaper, Mother Teresa, Nostradamus, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, sure, the Pope. I mean, just a few names out there that people will accept and say are spiritual. Because what? The Bible says so? Because somebody told them so? And then how do they learn what spiritual is? Who's going to teach them? Their mother, their father? Your friends? Oh, I'm going to teach you how to be spiritual today. Don't curse. Well, that's a good thing not to curse because that's the laws of the physical world, cursing. Especially when you curse with God's name in it. When you curse God out, no matter how dumb or ignorant, smart you are, think about it. Just let's take your father. If you said your effing father, you think he would be mad? Of course. Or the same about your mother. So if you use God's name in it, it's okay? Really? Because you don't believe in God. Because you don't know what kind of wrath comes back to you when you do that. People are so afraid of the truth. They're so afraid to look at what could happen. Think about it. The next time you use God's name in vain, think about what God would think about when you said that. Well, I forgive him. He's just angry. He's just angry. People kill in anger. People hurt people in anger. People don't hurt people in love until they go into the anger state. Like seeing your wife or husband with another person in bed. Then the anger steps in and love is gone. And then the killing aspect comes out. So, yeah, think about it. Think about the Ten Commandments. They're not solid. They're not 100% all there.